promises are where my hope is found. Oh, my hope, yeah. Peace holds me when I'm broken. Sweet peace that passes understanding. When the whole wide world is crashing down, I fall to my knees and breathe in your peace. I remember who you are. You're the God who's never far. So I will not be afraid. God, you always keep me safe in your arms. I remember who you are. You're the God who's never ever far. So I will not be afraid.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Peace in the Park, sponsored by the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University. My name is Michelle Schimmel. A pleasure to be here, and Happy New Year. Happy, healthy New Year to everyone. And if this is your first meeting with us, well, bigger special welcome to you. So we're going to ask, are you still breathing? The Breathe Peace series is a continuing series to bring you the ancient wisdom, modern science, and practical methods around breathing so you can gradually build your way to a peaceful, centered, and happy state of mind. Today is our third episode. We will focus on breathing help with insomnia. How many of you suffer with insomnia? Although it's better now. Studies have shown that it does help. Breathing does help, and especially if one is suffering from anxiety and a restless mind. So join us in this conversation as we explore in more depth and with practical exercise, which we're going to share with you. This session will continue our deeper exploration of breathing and how we can make sure that the breathing flows through us. So we're going to welcome a number of guests today. Some of you've met before at our previous panels. That's Dr. Rochelle Goldberg of Mainline Health, who in Pennsylvania, and she is a sleep physician. And we'll remember Sheila Sagani, a certified yoga instructor with a specialty in pranayama breathing yoga. And you'll continue to stay with us to welcome Sister Sabita, who will introduce a segment on arts of living. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Goldberg. Welcome, Dr. Goldberg. Welcome back, I should say.
Okay, welcome and thank you all for being here and for giving me another opportunity to join you. We will talk a little bit about sleep and breathing in a moment, but I want to remind us all that our body clocks are designed to help us regulate our two main states, if you will, in our day. During wake time, the signals are to be responsive to our environment, to our inner selves, as well as what's around us. We have changes in our day, we have changes in our breathing as part of the day. Sleep is also a rather dynamic process. And in the sleep, we move from light sleep to deep sleep to dream or REM sleep. And our bodies change and our breathing changes with that normal experience. Those of us who have the privilege of sleeping well are well aware, likely, that our breathing slows down as our body relaxes, and that is part of what helps sleep be the restorative recovery process that it is designed to be. Then we look at people who might have more trouble sleeping. So the term insomnia is used when we have a person who describes trouble falling asleep. They may have trouble staying asleep. They may have both falling asleep and staying asleep problems, and they will often describe non-restorative, non-restful sleep. They then have to try to function through their day as they're expected to, and this is a challenge for us, obviously. The challenge in sleep with that kind of insomnia, the insomnia condition, is typically thought of as a hyperarousal response instead of the brain slowing down, instead of the body being allowed to rest and relax and relieve tone in the body for that healing. We are alerted. We are complicating the signals to try to let sleep in, but our brains stay in that wakeful mode, even if our bodies feel tired or exhausted and we just don't want to do anymore. But the brain has to work with those signals. And when we are in a hyper alert state, we can't shut that off. So instead of the breathing slowing and our awareness dimming as we fade into sleep, we lie there with nothing to distract us but our ongoing alertness. And this again can be a feature at the beginning of the night or in the middle of the night. It's all a potential challenge. So many of us participating today are aware of the benefits of meditation, and I assume many of us have a regular practice. And some of that practice can certainly be incorporated into sleep at night, into going to bed to prepare for sleep. Many people think that preparing for sleep means go ahead and put on my jammies, brush my teeth, and now I'm ready to be in bed. And while that's an important part, it's also important for us to relax our brains, to relax our bodies before we head to bed, so that that breathing and the brain and the body are all in the same place in our jammies with our teeth brushed. The breathing in that situation, again, meditation is very helpful for many of my patients, especially if they already have a practice or have had a practice. I often really recommend that they use a practice that's familiar to them, that they know helps them feel in a calmer place, a more relaxed place. Because what we're doing with that is we're opening the door to sleep. Sleep is there. Our bodies and our brains want to be there. We have to allow it through or stay out of our own way, if you will. For those who don't have a regular practice or familiarity with the use of breathing to help calm us, or who just want something different as part of sleep, there are many online access to different breathing and sleep practices. The one I often find most helpful for my patients, in part because it's a very simple process, is what I want to share with you today. And even though most of us are not going to end this program by going to bed, I would like to share it with you, and feel free to practice that. You are already in bed, the lights are out, the room is cool, dark, and quiet, as this is how our environment supports our sleep. We have been away from close screens. We have been away from other alerting activity. We have not checked our email one more time, and we are ready for bed. And now we're there in our comfortable spot with our eyes closing, and we're breathing. So instead of just allowing the breath, we focus on a 3-step process. So this involves inhale, hold, and exhale. And it is a rhythmic process, again, as many are familiar with. You inhale through the nose to a count of 5. This is a slow, relaxed breath. There is nothing forceful. You feel the air entering as you inhale through your nose. The 5 count helps you stay on track with what you're doing to minimize the distractions that might otherwise occur. You hold that breath, feeling it fill your lungs, feeling it moving on into your body for a slow 3 count. On the exhale, we use our mouth, but you're focusing on relaxing the chest and belly as you slowly, not too slowly, count to 7 and allow the air to pass out of your mouth. I emphasize to people that this is, again, not a forced maneuver. You are not trying to squeeze every drop of air out of your lungs. You are focusing on relaxing the muscles that work with our breathing to allow the air to move outward. And as you know from our previous conversations and yourselves otherwise, inhale the oxygen, exhale that carbon dioxide, focusing on the breaths. My patients often ask me, how many times do I have to do this? And obviously we don't want them lying there for an hour focusing on their breathing because it will become more and more frustration. But to do this when they're starting to feel somewhat drowsy so they can move into that direction. Now, I said earlier about getting ready for bed is not just about the prep to lay your head on the pillow, but this breathing and the relaxing environment set the stage for our nights. So when you fall asleep with this breathing in a comfortable environment, this same technique, the same environment is there, and the same breathing is available when that person is one who wakes up at night and again has a tendency for the mind to alert, for them to start getting distracted. So I remind them, since they have made a practice of doing this at bedtime, that they've created this really critical link of falling asleep was when I was breathing in this way. And they do it again at night and help them return to sleep with more success. I also emphasize here that this is not a make me sleep, force me to sleep, trick me to sleep, that this is a natural process that we are embracing with the rhythm of the breath and the coordination of our breath and our body. I profess no expertise in meditation. I'm just a sleep doctor, but obviously this has been a part of my world for a very long time. And I believe I've finished with what I want to share, but I understand we might have a few minutes if there are any questions. I'm not sure who's coordinating that, however.
They can put it in the chat.
That would be lovely.
If there are any questions, I'll look for the chat. Okay.
I see the chat box.
I think you've done such a great job.
Well, we're just giving another minute to see if there are any questions. The other thing that I try to emphasize to the world at large with these measures is how much more it's directed to the actual mechanisms of not sleeping. The society of pill taking is one of the challenges of our existence. And these measures actually target why the sleep is getting blocked. It's not just a pill to dumb it down. It's so much more real. So I do see a question from Karen. Is it best to do sitting up or lying down? I recommend that the person try to get comfortable in their bed as they would be in position to just leave their eyes closed, curl up and sleep. You can be preferably, in bed lying down. You can be curled up on your right or your left or your belly or your back, whatever you associate with your comfortable position for falling asleep. The key is that your environments inside and outside should be relaxed. And I had another question here. I lost it though. So I'm not sure which order. Okay, so would you say less light helps to fall asleep, and what is recommended room temperature? Yes, we are creatures of dark, sleep, light, active, and that's why avoiding close screens, which have way too much light delivered to our brains, should be avoided close to bedtime. The bedroom should be dark. Ideally, the less light, the better. Cover up all those silly little blue lights on all your devices. Turn the clock away. Less light. There's no need for light in this situation. And ideally, our eyes are closed anyway. Ideal room temperature is somewhat a comfort zone, but you definitely want the room more on the cool side rather than feeling too warm. It's better to need a blanket or sheet to be able to pull it up to warm yourself up and relieve, and move it if you get too warm, than to try to cool down. And our body temperatures naturally decrease slightly in sleep. We want to reinforce that signal. And to do verbally, have a question would like to do verbally. Okay, I don't know how we do that, but I'll stick around. How important is it to keep the same schedule? Critical. We are creatures of habit, and just like we're talking about all of our other body rhythms, you don't want to confuse your signal with different times. Now, there are some people that can't help that because they work shifts or because they have children crying in the night or feedings to do, but as much as you can protect stable sleep hours with a target of 8 hours there. And while everybody sits there, shakes their head and say, I don't need 8 hours. I'm sorry, but physiologically, yes, you do. We need somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of time in bed to allow ourselves to try to create a 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And let's see, I think I made it. Sleep, same schedule. And that includes, by the way, weekends. If you shift tremendously on the weekend from your normal routine, you know that phenomenon for the Sunday night I can't sleep, which is a very common one, is partly because you've confused your body clock a little bit, besides the enthusiasm for starting work the next day.
Yes, I have a question. It's about the number of hours that you just said, but the thing is that I have never gotten 8 hours of sleep in my life. And if I get 6, that's normal. And with the pandemic, it's much less. But my question really has to do with quantity of sleep versus when you get into your REM sleep. Because it's really, isn't it REM sleep that determines whether you're rested and everything else?
The two most important parts of sleep are REM sleep and deep sleep. They serve very different purposes. In deep sleep, our bodies are relatively able to respond, roll over, scratch, and itch, while our brain is really when we talk about deep sleep, it's slow waves. There's very little happening. The metabolism of the brain is very slow at that time as part of healing and recovery for the next day. The REM sleep is one that's a very dynamic, almost as alert brain as some of us have during the day, which is not an insult to anybody, but is definitely a piece of the clearing out the brain, triaging the important signals out, while at that time our bodies are relatively atonic, unable to move. If you've seen an animal sleep, they do the twitchy stuff, but if you picked up that animal, they would be floppy in your arms because the tone is down. And that's the other important part of the night. And I'll give you that you may be an exception to the rule, because with all rules, there are exceptions and there are outliers. And if you can also tell me that on the weekends you get those same 6 hours and you're perfectly fine, then yes, you probably are the exception. But more people think they're exceptions, and and they deprive themselves of sleep accordingly.
Well, one other thing about the other aspect that I wanted to ask is that what I've noticed in my sleep pattern, because it has gotten less because of COVID-19, that I'm actually able to dream. I fall asleep right away as soon as I go to sleep. Okay, so even though I might only be getting 4 hours or whatever, I fall asleep right away. But I'm also, if I get up in 15 minutes because I just took a quick nap or whatever, I'm actually able to dream within like 1 to 2 minutes of going to sleep. And it's I've spoken to some people about it. Normally, that's not the case.
Correct.
With people. I'm able to go into like REM sleep right away and then have these pretty involved dreams, even if I'm only sleeping for 15 minutes.
And you're right, that's not a typical response. I'm going to say that this will be our last conversation, so we'll not interfere with the rest of the program, but I thank you for your interest. I would certainly, have a conversation perhaps with your doctor just in general to make sure that everything is going as well for you as you think. Having early REM sleep, like I said, can be a catch-up kind of experience for your body. So stay well.
So I should be getting a medical checkup because
No, I would share that with your primary care doctor to say, this is what I do. Is there anything I should look into? So thank you for that and for all the other wonderful questions. It's my pleasure to introduce my co-panelist from our Breathe in Peace and Breathe in the Park. And with all respect, please welcome Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you, Rochelle. That was wonderful. Happy New Year to everyone, and hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful New Year. Lots of questions in our mind with the world the way it is right now. So we are dealing with lots of other problems besides sleep as well, right? So how do you really come to a conclusion where you find that peace? Every cell in your body is reacting to what your mind is saying. So if your mind is peaceful and powerful, then each and every cells in your body will listen to you and react to what your mind says. So we're going to learn one technique today, which we have learned in the past. It is called chanting of Om. Yeah, Om meaning I, the soul, am very peaceful already. But sometimes in midst of everything, I lose my essence of who I am. So when we chant Om, it takes us, we are all souls. So that energy, that cosmic energy of each one of us, we connect that energy to the divine, the highest source. And when we connect that energy to the source, each and every one of us find that peace that we are all looking for. So breathe in peace. One of the breathing exercise we're going to do today is 5 times chanting of Om. We did this last time, of course, but it was a bit short. So we'll make it a point that we do 5 times today. And when we are doing it, just be in it, where you are totally absorbed in that divine light as you connect with that source, and also seeing yourself as a light. Okay, so sit in a very comfortable position, whatever position you feel comfortable in, and we'll start with deep inhalation, and then we'll chant Om. Inhale. Om. Okay. Inhale again. Again. And one last time. Inhale. And with that, feel those vibrations and feel those vibrations of peace inside each and every cells of your body. This is one of the practice you can do before you go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, it refreshes us. So there are lots of techniques. This is one of them to bring the awareness of who we are. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we want to offer our thanks to Dr. Rochelle Goldberg for her expertise on sleep. And once again, for Sheila Ben-Singani, thank you so much for that. And don't go away, because we now welcome Sister Sabita and Tony Figueroa, who are going to do a short segment on the arts of living. And then we'll come back. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Hello, everyone, and a very, very happy new year to all of you. I'm saying happy, even though the new year started off on a roar in many ways, but I'm still saying a happy new year because from the bottom of my heart, I would like to wish each and every one of you a truly happy new year. Normally, we make New Year resolutions. I'm not so sure if you all made a New Year resolution or if you are rethinking about your New Year resolution. For me, I decided that I'm not going to add another item on the list because each year seems to be bringing so many uncertainty. So I thought for myself, let me go back and see what I have done and what I haven't done, how far I've reached and where I would need to go or where I would like to go and take it from there. And in doing that, I come across what we call as the arts of living. And there are actually 16 of them. So I pulled out, and I want to share these arts of living with all of you, but how to make it smooth and less time consuming. So I thought that we can share 12 with you, one for every month of the year. You can take all 12 and make it one per month for yourself, or you can take it the one for your birth month and think about that, reflect on it, and maybe implement it in your life and share it with others. Develop that art of living some more. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the 12 arts as quickly as possible. And I'll ask Tony to read them out as we go through each one. And we will start with January, of course, the first month of the year. And if you, as we go along, whichever is your birth month, if you want to maybe focus on that some more, you're most welcome to do that. Or if you want to take all 12 of them, it's our gift to you for this year of 2021. So we hope you like this gift, and Happy New Year again. And I hand over to Tony to walk us through, or read us through, I shouldn't say walk us through, to read us through the affirmations. Over to you, Tony.
Okay. January. The art of moving forward. Moving forward means mastering the ability to maintain momentum and consistency. It involves an understanding that to avoid stagnation Effort must be exerted, and that a sustained effort is best fueled by love. February, the art of being happy and content. Contentment is an expression of deep satisfaction in the soul. It becomes an art when you understand and practice thoughts and actions that produce happiness as their fruit. It means learning to disassociate yourself quickly from anything that leads you away from what is joyous. March, the art of sustaining the self. Sustainable energy is precious. This art involves understanding what it takes to care for your energy and nurture the thoughts, food, activities that are healthy and generate wellness and respect and self-respect. April, the art of refreshing. Refreshing yourself means knowing how to reset energy at a higher level. It involves stepping out of a mundane or old mindset to relax and generate new energy. Refreshment usually involves silence or fun, anything that helps wash away the debris accumulated during everyday life. May, the art of thinking. We create our world based on thoughts. This art is about mastering the ability to review your mental creations and reclaim the power to create high quality thoughts that you are independent of external influences and align with your true self. June, the art of communication. Communication becomes art when feeling and speaking are congruent. Words are clear and have a benevolent effect. It requires sensitivity to simplicity and clarity, and the capacity to balance saying too much against too little. July, the art of harmonizing with others. Creating harmony is an art that involves thinking about other people generously and in ways that bring mutual benefit. It involves understanding your own unique part in such a way that you play it well. This saves everyone's energy. August, the art of being still inside. Stillness is an art. It requires the practice of rising above the movement and turbulence in the mind and body to conquer the restless compulsion to act. September, the art of leading. Leading is an art when the qualities most beneficial to a situation guide conversation and action. A skillful balance of leading and following, together with an absence of ego, create an atmosphere where all can lead. October, the art of learning and teaching. Teaching the self well is the art of learning. Learning and teaching are partners in the dance of discovery. Together they build a bridge between the natural interest to learn and the subject of focus. November, the art of transformation. Transformation honors the natural desire of the soul to grow by shedding beliefs and fears that limit new expression. It requires knowing what to let go of, when to move on, and how to make something good out of any situation. Always trusting that even in the worst situations, there will be something to learn. December, the art of leisure and work. Leisure is a state of mind. Work becomes leisure when approached with love and lightness. This art enhances all action by filling it with light, with a light attitude and an expression of pure intention. Hard work becomes a game when played with joy.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I hope you got your months and or maybe all of them. And I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Sabita and Tony, for that gift of our birth months. I know I'm going to focus. Mine is August, and I've got my work cut out for me. So thank you so much. The art of stillness. Oh boy, that's a tough one for me, but I'm starting right after this. I'm going to start. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to speak for myself as much as I did, and you get the jewels that you could pull the jewels out of this. And we have so many people to thank. As I mentioned, Sister Sabita, our fearless leader on this, thank you so much. And Tony on our committee, our whole committee. We have a Peace in the Park committee, and Dr. Rochelle Goldberg for joining us again with your wisdom and science and spirit. Thank you again. And Sheila, thank you so much for your beautiful chanting. Wonderful, wonderful. And with that, we are going to end this in peace and in love. And we also want to thank the Supreme, for without the Supreme, none of this would be possible. And thank you, the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University. And if you stay, please stay for just a moment. There will be a poll on the screen, because we want to ask you some questions. We want to get some information. What do you think of how we're doing? And if you want to continue. And for the first question, you can answer more than one answer. And we will use this poll to determine whether we should continue with the series like this. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, happy new year, and good health, and be safe. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Did everyone get a chance to vote in the poll? Okay. Thank you.